This is my Minecraft world where I spent almost 1,000 days building my base. We have beautiful builds and functional towns containing industrial farms, but we also have empty spaces, messy terrain, and a frog pit. So today I want to transform my entire base, terraform the land, add a bunch of new buildings, and turn this place into the ultimate survival island. This island is huge, so I'm going to divide it into different parts and tackle them one by one. The first project is the farm. I built this farm when the Spring to Life update came out that added all the animal variants, so now we have pens for all of them. And of course it just started raining. We got a pig pen, a chicken coop, a giant farmhouse for all the cows, with a very sus name. Why did I name it that? And we also have a horse stable. But this farm is lacking one important thing: functionality. I wanted to have a purpose beyond housing cute animals, and I know exactly what that's gonna be. I constantly need wheat to breed my cows, and then harvest the food from their carcass. Wait, that sounds so horrible. And I also need wheat to make packed mud and mud bricks, which I love to use for these paths. There's a sheep following me. And we have this giant empty area in front of our farm, so we can turn it into a giant crop field. Let's first fill all of our buckets with water, and then we can create holes all over this field. And of course somebody doesn't want me to plant a field. Oh my gosh, why is it so many? I've never seen such a huge pillager patrol. I told you guys to never come back here. Die. I survived. And I got a pillager head. Har. But now let's make this area look a little bit less of a battlefield and more of a cozy crop field. So let's finish adding all of the water sources and then cover them with wooden slabs so we don't fall in. So now it looks like there isn't even any water at all, but it's definitely still under here. And now we just have to turn everything into farmland. Making a giant crop field is the easy part, but turning the island into a fully connected base is a huge challenge. Because I want things to make sense, but also look nice and give me a reason to walk through there. So I need to put a lot of thought into what I'm doing. My brain cells are screaming right now. Just kidding, I only have one. I actually changed up a bunch of terraforming and added some wooden retaining walls. And now we have 3 different kinds of layers for the field. Now we just need a huge amount of seeds and then plant them everywhere. And now all of the seeds are planted, and I can't wait to see how this looks once all the crops are grown. But of course there are a bunch more things we have to do to turn this area into the ultimate cozy farm. One thing a crop field definitely needs is a windmill. So let's quickly go down into my storage room and gather all of the resources for it. And of course the main build material is going to be spruce wood. Totally not obsessed. Let's craft it into a bunch of different materials like stairs and slabs. And when you can't figure out what other blocks to use, it always helps to look at the surrounding area, because all of these farm builds follow a very similar block palette. So we can also grab some birch wood, and I like to strip it beforehand so I don't have to worry about it later. And another thing we need is bricks. And I think the windmill should go right up here overlooking the field. Let's see if I can build the windmill faster before all of the crops have fully grown. I'm gonna keep the windmill on a smaller scale to match all of the other farm buildings because they're all not super giant either. I think the windmill turned out really well, and most importantly fits into the whole farm vibe. I'm just gonna have a little path go around the windmill and to its door. And I just wanted to grab coarse dirt, and these guys are here again. You know what that means, right? You're all gonna die because I'm so good at Minecraft. I'm on 1 heart. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's get some coarse dirt, and then we can use it to decorate the path and the ground around the windmill. And then we can decorate some more by adding some leaves to the windmill and some grass patches on the coarse dirt. Let's also go to our iron farm. I'm so sorry, little golem. And we can grab a bunch of the poppies that the golems drop, and then we can place them on the side of the cornfield, because poppies are commonly found growing on the edge of wheat fields in real life too. This place is looking so cool already, but there's a lot more we gotta decorate. Another farm related build we could add is a hay cart. Let's clear some space here and add it right into the crop field. Small builds always help to break up the terrain if it's just the same thing like a crop field. These are gonna be the wheels, and we can add some buttons to them. And it's actually so creepy how the farmland turns to dirt even though the slab doesn't touch it. Minecraft logic, am I right? Now we have this giant wagon, and we can spam a bunch of hay on top of it, and some signs can go around it to hold it all together. And I think this looks really good. That just gave me another idea. We could cut a little path right through the field, and then we can turn everything into path blocks. And I also have a mod that lets you make mini blocks of all of the blocks in the game. You just put it in the stone cutter, and then you get a mini hay bale. And they're gonna be a really cute addition to the hay cart. Look at those little baby hay bales. But this place is actually so dark and gloomy at nighttime. I think I'm just gonna hide a bunch of lanterns on the slabs where the water is. And to make sure the monsters never show up, we can also add something else. Let's add some armor stands into the field, and then we can add the heads of the mobs who annoyed us while we built this. We can also make some leather armor and then dye it gray, so it looks like the armor stand is actually dressed up as a pillager. I also have a data pack that lets me change how the armor stand looks, so we can have it actually show its arms, which is really cool. And we can actually try and give it the crossbow go. Oh my gosh, yes, I just fell and trampled my crops. I bet I'm gonna get jump scared by this guy thinking he's real. I just trampled my crops again. And added another one over here in a different pose. And over here we have an injured wandering trader leaning against the hay cart and hiding from the pillagers. I just wanted to make scarecrows, but now I turned it into a whole battle scene. Also, don't ask how I got the wandering trader head. And now the crop field part of the farm is completed, and I think it's looking really good. Which brings us to the other side of the farm, because we have a bunch of empty spaces in between these buildings. And I actually want to try and squeeze another house in here. One that's going to be essential for my survival in this world, because right now this is the place where I get food. And this isn't my farming area, so we gotta relocate it. But of course in a much prettier way. I collected a bunch of resources for the house, which is mostly the same stuff as on the other builds. Oh my gosh, I just got jump scared by my own creation. But now let's take our resources and let's build the house. And this house is actually going to be a little barn, because I want to lock up a bunch of cows in there, so the barn is the perfect, beautiful distraction from the horrors inside. I mean nothing. And I have an idea on how to decorate this even more using the new shelves. We can add a lovely trim up here, and there's actually a way to change how the shelves look. We just add a bit of redstone behind them, and look, they actually changed their texture. And we also need to make sure the inside looks presentable for the cows, so I'm just gonna cover up this messy ceiling using a bunch of stairs and some light in the ceiling so nothing else spawns here. I'm talking to you, creepers. And now we just dig a really nice, lovely hole. We can create a pen alongside the wall so the cows can never escape. And then we add a carpet on top of it so I can get in but they cannot get out, which is another weird Minecraft logic, because why can I not jump over this but I can jump on this one? This is a pixel higher. And I used the pale moss carpet for a reason, because now we have this beautiful effect of the vines spreading all over the walls. And now it's a great moving day for our cows. Look, they're so excited already. They will finally be released from that horrible pen, and they just have to follow me to their new home. Oh my gosh, I got jump scared by the pillager in the field again. Welcome to your new life in another pit. Teehee. I'm stuck in the cows. This is so creepy. So now we have a nice unlimited food source in a beautiful barn. And the reason I built this as close as possible to the chicken coop is because I want to build something else here too. A cow meat grinder. No, I'm kidding. I want to add some more farm-related decor. Go away, cow. So I was thinking we could add storage silos. And I think we can actually manage to fit 2 of them in here. Now we just built them up using bricks and a little bit of terracotta and some granite. I built these 2 tall cylinders, and they cannot have any windows because silos are meant to store grain inside of them, so nothing from the outside world should get in. And we can close this off with a nice wooden slab roof. Another thing that silos have are these weird tube kind of things coming out of them. These things, I don't even know what they're called. They're looking really cool already, but I think they're missing some decor. So I had the silly idea to make a ladder going up there, but I'm not actually crafting a Minecraft ladder, I'm building one. So we got the cool new shelves on the side, and then trapdoors going all the way up. Oh my gosh, it looks so cool. It's better than the normal ladder. And I mean, we could actually use the ladder. We just go in, and then we just jump up trapdoor by trapdoor, and then we're at the top. And a singular pillager just came over. Go away. Now we just have to make a little path going to the cow torture barn. I mean, beautiful animal sanctuary. And the path can also go over to the silos. And I want to attempt to build something that I'm not really sure how to do. I want to build a tractor. I rarely build vehicles on Minecraft, so this is gonna be a really fun challenge. I also don't have the resources I need, so I have to go to the nether. And I'm here for this blackstone because that's gonna be really cool for tractor wheels. And I also want to use mangrove for a red tractor, but I only have 9 logs. So let's just quickly fly over to the mangrove swamp because it's not far from here. And I know mangrove can be a little bit annoying to harvest, but when you have an efficiency hoe, it goes super fast because you can just go through it like this and then uncover all of the logs. I'm almost home, but I just realized I'm almost out of rockets, and I didn't bring my ender chest with my rocket box. This could have gone so wrong. The pillagers scared me again. Stupid pillagers. And now we can craft up our mangrove wood. And now let's build the tractor, and if I do it right, it's gonna look super cool. So we got the big wheels and the small ones in classic tractor fashion, and now we just need to connect it all with mangrove. Okay, this is looking so cool already. And I also used those shelves again. And then we can use some blast furnaces for the engine. And now we've got a really nice red tractor, but it doesn't end there, because we could also attach a trailer to the back of the tractor, and then we can store stuff on top of it. And of course that's gonna be a bunch of hay bales because everything is full of hay, so that makes sense. And I think I've just found my favorite use for the shelves. They make this trailer look so good and super detailed. I can't believe I actually just made this. This is so good. And after obsessing over my red tractor, it was time to get back to work and decorate the rest of the farm. I just did some basic decorating of the path, and I can't believe I managed to fit all of this into this tiny space. Speaking of tiny spaces, we also have some next to the horse stable. And I planted some sunflowers here, so maybe past me was giving me a sign. So we could just add some more coarse dirt, and then we just plant sunflowers everywhere, and occasionally add some leaves and grass patches to mix things up. Now we have a really beautiful sunflower field here, and added another little retaining wall to this side, matching the one on the wheat field. We also have this path here that branches off from my base and goes all the way to the farm, but it also goes all the way over here, and then it just stops. And I just got a really cool idea for what to do here. We have a horse stable, but we have nowhere to ride the horses, and our farm area area is pretty much completed now, so we cannot fit a horse riding track anywhere here. But then I took a look behind the buildings and there's so much space. So we can continue the path to go behind all of the farm buildings and then connect to my happy guest area and then reconnect to the farm path all the way back to the stable. And we gotta do a bunch of terraforming for that. And I actually love terraforming so much because breaking so much dirt is so satisfying, and then reshaping the land to look how I want it to look is so fun. There's a cave here. So I freed up enough space for a big road and also made sure the hill behind it looked nice too. And then I just had to cover up a giant water hole, and now I think we can work with this area. And now I just need to turn everything into path blocks, but my shovel is almost broken, so I'm just gonna use a random different one that I don't really need. I love being in the late game where I just have a bunch of diamond tools at my disposal, which means I can spend more time focusing on building. I was considering being lazy and not decorating this path because it's behind all of my buildings, but I'm gonna ride my horse through here, so it has to look pretty, right? I cannot be lazy today. Also, speaking of lazy, look who's coming over there. No trespassing in my base. He's running up that hill and he just burned to death. Womp womp. And now we can take our horse and we can try out our little riding track. I decorated it with a bunch of leaves and greenery, and I also added some fences so we don't fall in the water. And there's a cute happy gas floating around. Then we can go around this corner. Wait, I just realized I'm not even done with the path because we have to go around here. Also, there's a pillager and a pig in the tree. We got a bit of an empty space in between the happy gas area and my industrial town. So I'm glad we get to add the horse riding path here. So the spot has a purpose now. Now let's take our horse again and explore the new path. And we actually have to jump over this little water stream, which I think is super fun. And then we have flowers all over the area, and we just get to ride up these steps here, and then it's connected to this path which leads right around my farm. And then I'm coming out by the wheat field and my tractor. I love the tractor. It's the best build ever. I love it. Now we can have a lovely time riding through our base in a nice circle and admiring all of the builds. Now the farm is complete, so let me know in the comments what we should name it because it definitely needs a name. But there are several more projects waiting for us, so our work has just begun. I also repaired all of my tools and stocked up on food and rockets. So now it's time for the next part, the mining outpost. And it just started raining as I said that. Why Minecraft? We got a lovely industrial building which leads down to my branch mine, and we also have a quarry right here which leads down to the caves. But luckily we don't have to go down there because we have to focus on this side over here because it's completely empty. We need to think of all of the mining related things that are in the game and then add them to this place here. I'm so glad I repaired my shovel because there's gonna be a lot of digging ahead of us. Let's also go down to our storage and grab a bunch of stone and stone bricks, and we'll luckily have 6 double chests full of stone because we dug out this entire room. So now these blocks can finally be put to good use because I want to build a giant wall and separate the different layers of this area, and then we can fill the holes in between so everything is on one layer. But we also need to light it up under here, otherwise things will come crawling, and we don't want things to come crawling. One platform is done and looking really good, so we can do the same thing again and add another one, but this time on a bigger scale. Then we can also build a staircase so we can go up each layer. The walls are just stone bricks right now, so we gotta punch them out and add in some cobblestone and decide in stone. It definitely looks much better with a texture. Also, while I've been working on this wall, I kept hearing frog noises, and then I realized I stood on a hole full of frogs. Dude, there's literally a pit full of frogs under here. This is from the time I tried to get frog lights by moving them to the nether, so I had to breed them here first. And we can figure out something nice for them later, but first we gotta work on this nice wall. And now this is definitely an area I can work with. And the next step is making a path. Since we already have the stairs in place, we know exactly where the path should lead, but I don't want to make it out of path blocks because we have this beautiful packed mud and mud brick road here. So good that I just made a giant crop field because now we can harvest all of it. I just got jump scared by the pillager again. And now we can combine wheat with mud, and then we get packed mud. And I also like to texture my path using those brown mushroom blocks because they're literally the same color as the packed mud, just with a different texture. And then we need more coarse dirt because we always do. And we also need brown concrete powder, again for the texturing. The first platform is going to be entirely filled with my packed mud and mud brick path. Then I'm just going to continue downwards and connect to the other staircase. And it can also branch off in other directions where I plan to add more mining related decor. Now that most of the grass is gone, this place is looking even more industrial, and also added mud stairs instead of stone brick because now it looks much better. Now I want to work on this space up here, and I'm gonna take inspiration from the things we already have here, which are all of these crates full of ores. But I think I'm actually going to break them first, and then we can move them over to the edge of the platform. Now the iron and copper crates are over in the corner, and now we get a much more open path leading to our industrial town, and it's no longer covered in crates. But I also want to add more crates over here, but this time also using those new shelves because they can also look really cool as crates. And in those crates we can add some more things you can find in the mines, like amethyst or calcite. Now it's looking really cool, but this spot here is still empty, and I think we can build another of those little wagons. But this time it's not gonna transport hay, this time it's gonna transport a bunch of iron ore. And of course it also needs the mini blocks. And I've got another cool build done. I added some grass patches and greenery, and now this area is done, which brings us down the stairs to the next area. And I think it's time we also add something functional here. But before you can build that, we actually need to build a giant rock on this hill, which is kind of a weird thing to do, but it's going to make sense later. Now we've got this beautiful giant rock overgrown by grass and moss, but I actually want to put something inside of here. So first we gotta dig out a little room inside of the rock, and also make sure we don't fall into this ravine that's right under us. But the best part is gonna be how we're getting inside of the rock. Let's grab a bunch of redstone materials. I'm gonna have such a big brain redstone moment here, or I'm just gonna fail miserably. It's going to be so embarrassing if this doesn't work, but if we press this button, the door will open, and it closed again. Yay! We got a secret door! And to get out, I just place a pressure plate, and now I can walk right out again. And the door is so hidden that nobody's ever gonna see it. Now we just have to add something inside of here, and I wanna add a little farm that's mining related. So let's grab some lava, and then we can try to add a little cobblestone generator inside of here. I'm gonna put the water inside of stairs, and we can place some hoppers going into a barrel. And now we add all of the scary lava, and it's all going to turn into cobblestone as soon as it touches the back of these stairs. And now we have our own cobblestone generator, and we just stand here, and then we can just mine the blocks, and the lava is just gonna regenerate it over and over, and all of the blocks end up in the barrel. So if I ever need cobblestone and don't want to go mining, I can just come here and chill in this farm in the safety. And it's dark. Oh my gosh, look at this skelly. It's wearing copper armor. I've never seen that before. Let's ignore him and decorate the rest of this area. We gotta add another mining related thing, and I was thinking to build a giant crane that can haul a bunch of ores from one platform to the next, or lift stones out of the deep caves. And I think it's looking really good. I also continued building the road and added another crate full of iron ore. And I love building cranes so much, so I had to build another one in a different location. This one here is a little bit smaller, and it has a hook so it can haul stuff out of the water. I don't know for what you would need it, but it looks cool. Now we just gotta fill the remaining empty spaces with more decor, like a little stone cutter table that can cut tiny little stones, and of course more crates that can store ores. And I actually didn't put any of the ores here, instead I put a bunch of blocks that can be found underground. Now we just need to continue a little mud brick road to this area too, and then it's gonna look really good. Also guess who got jump scared by the pillager again, and then I realized they were actually here. That's so creepy. And they're trampling all of my crops too. Be gone. And down here we can add more ores like lapis and deep slate gold ore. And I think the ultimate flex will be if we had some diamonds. Oh my gosh, I just flew into the wall. Wait, we're actually so diamond rich. So we can display them in here. And it feels so wrong, but I'm gonna turn one of those diamond ores into a mini block. We just sacrificed diamonds for pretty decor, but we can do it because we're so rich. Well, until I die in lava and lose all of my stuff. Now this part here is decorated, which leaves this part over here. And this area here is big enough to fit a little water well. I looked it up, and mining operations actually heavily rely on water because it's used to process all of the ores and crush them and wash them. So having a little well here is going to be perfect. And I really love how it is looking. And I also added a little bit of lore because down there is a frog guarding a little golden ball. Let me know in the comments if you know that fairy tale. And by adding this well, we actually completed this entire area. Look how cool this is looking. This is actually the ultimate mining operation. And I just had an idea on how to bring this to life. Minecraft recently added copper golems, so it would be really cool if we had a couple of them just roaming around the area. Look at this little guy. He fits right into the mining operation. And I had an even better idea to let the copper golems stay in place. We just make one of those oxidized ones, and they're gonna freeze and turn into a statue soon. And we can take a bunch of them and just place them all around this area. This place is about to turn into Copper Golem Town. We got a little guy sitting on the wagon. One is operating the giant crane, and one is stuck on the crane. And another one is guarding my secret rock. And my favorite ones are these two freaking out because a child has fallen into the well. Teehee. Now another area is complete, and we still have this part down here with the frog pit, but we're gonna get to that later because it's actually day 999 in my world right now. So I need to prepare because I want to do something silly for day 1000. But first I gotta sort all the mess I created while building my mining outpost. I want to do something dangerous and start a raid. And so I can survive it, I'm gonna need a shield, and I'm also gonna need my chest plate. But before we do that, let's sleep the night away and wake up on day 1000. It's so unreal to me that we actually survived 1000 days in this world already. And if I can do math correctly, that's over 300 hours of real life playtime. We spent so much time building in this world, and I can't wait to build even more. But first we need to fly to a village and annoy them with a raid. There's one kinda close to my base, but still far away enough so nothing can creep over to my houses. We just need to lock up this villager, now he's trapped, and then we gotta make sure that nothing can kill him. And look, we also got an iron golem who can help us. And I would just drink from this ominous bottle. I've never triggered a raid in this world, so let's see what's gonna happen. Hi, pillagers. Ew, they're running so fast. Oh my gosh, he has an axe. He has an axe. Where's he going? Hello? Ah! No. Get wrecked. I'm so strong when I have my chest plate. Here comes the second wave. Where's your axe, Mr. Axeman? Ah! Ah! He's behind me! Wait, I started my elytron. I'm so stupid. Where are you guys? Hello? And the stupid pillagers can't even spawn properly because now they're hiding in some cave. I knew it! You're down there with a cat. That's so weird. Die. I missed. And now day 1000 is already over and I spent the whole day fighting creatures. Let's sleep the night away and let's fight the next raid wave. Die. 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 Woo! There's a guy. There's a freaking giant cow. Should I be brave and go in and fight the guy? Rah! Die, Mr. Cowman. He's just running away. He died. They're all running away instead of fighting me. You idiots. Now there's one more remaining and I bet he's in a cave. I see you there, you stupid Axeman. Die, die. Why did he not fight back? And there's the guy I'm after. Oh, he's running so fast. Come back here. No, not the Vexes. Die, Mr. Man. Die. Yes, he dropped a totem. Stop shooting me from that giant cow, aka Ravager. Get him, Gollum. Good Gollum. Oh, he got stuck in the sheep pen. Die now. Yes, he dropped his head. After sleeping, this is like day 3 of fighting this raid. Bye, pillagers. Get him. Get him, Gollum. Yes. Don't tell me they've gone caving again. Oh no, there's a witch. Die, little witch. Oh my gosh, there's this guy. Let's kill this guy first. And then we just slay him. Yes. Another totem. Not the Vexes. I hate Vexes. Go away, you little sword creatures. Oh my gosh, there's another wave of those cow people. No. Ah. Oh my gosh, no! Fly away! I'm gonna get ya. There's another totem on the ground. Let's go. He made it to my bed. Stupid guy. Stop standing there. That's my lookout. This better be the last wave because I'm so over you guys. Look at this zoomer over there. That's so creepy. I will get you. Got him. You can go away. Ow! They set me on fire! That's creepy! Okay, where's the last one? Hello? They also killed my golem, which is tragic. Okay, now this is hilarious. The last guy managed to lock himself into the house. What an absolute idiot! Die. Yes, he dropped his head. That's so cool. Yay! We did it. Ah! Stop ruining my moment! I got all of them. And I didn't even die. I never really got close to dying. That is so cool. This poor horse witnessed all of it. It's probably traumatized for life. Or it just doesn't care. Also, look at our haul. We got a bunch of pillager heads and so many totems of undying. This was so much fun and such a great way to celebrate 1000 days in my world. And to remember this battle, I want to rename one of the totems to 1000 days. And the date so I always know what day I reached 1000 days. Then we can hang up an item frame and display the totem in our house. And it's right next to the day I created this world. And we got to 1000 days in less than a year, which is pretty cool. And maybe when we reach 2000 days, we can go fight the warden. But now it's time to get back to work. And now that we've reached 1000 days, we should continue where we started when we first created this world. This was the first house I built in this world, but there's a lot of empty space behind it. And a creaking just spawned behind me. He's my own personal punching bag. And I think this creaking would love it if we had our very own garden. No, 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 no. Dang it! So this brings us to our next big project, the garden. But before this place can actually become a garden, there's a lot of work we need to do on the terrain. So I want to flatten the ground first and then add a giant wall around it that's made of a bunch of different tough blocks. We've got this nicely textured wall encircling my new garden perimeter. And it's nice and tall so the monsters can't even see me. Unless they find the entrance, of course. But they're stupid, so I'm not counting on it. And in here we have all the space to create my beautiful cozy garden. The first thing we need is a path from my house to the garden. So I think we should just go around the side. And then of course we can link it up to my little entrance down here. We could also go around the house in a full circle and link it up to my little shed here. The shed that belongs to the creepy creaking. I got rid of all of the stuff that was here. So now we can have some steps going up there and a little path connecting it all together. So now we can run in a circle all around the house in the pouring rain with the creaking chasing us. No, I see him. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. It's so creepy. No. Okay, they are smart. They found the entrance to my garden. No. And now we can peacefully continue working on the path during daylight without anything chasing us. But we also have this mess on the shed because this is my bone meal machine where I can just put greenery in there and then it gets converted into bone meal. And I think that's a really useful machine and a reason to visit the garden. So I don't want to get rid of it entirely, but I want to move it down a couple blocks. And then we just need to hide it, and I think I want to disguise it as a little compost area. And then we can surround it with podzol because that's kind of the most composty block there is in the game. And then let's add some greenery like dried grass, ferns, and mushrooms. I think it's looking really cool, and the bone bone meal machine is nicely disguised, but we know it's here and we can still add our seeds to it because we now have tons of it thanks to our new wheat field. And we can open this trapdoor to collect the bone meal down here. And now this compost is making loud, annoying bone meal noises, so we can go as far away from it as possible and build something here in the garden. I went to my storage to craft a bunch of resources, and then I saw all of my copper golems have frozen in one place. That's actually so tragic. Oh my gosh, they keep their name when I bring them back to life. Yay! I was so scared they would lose their name because they have so many silly names. But now I've got all of the resources, so let's get back to work. I want to have a cozy space in my garden where I can relax from having a hard day working and grinding, as I always do. So an overgrown cottagecore gazebo is going to be perfect for that. And under here we can have a little sitting area so we can make some benches and use the shelves to make them look even cooler. I love the shelves so much. And then we can also have a little round table in the middle. You know, as round as it's gonna get in Minecraft, which is basically a square. Maybe the Creaking wants to hang out with me. Come on. Yay! He's here in the gazebo. His name is Sparkly and he's creepy. This is so beautiful. Ow! He ruined the moment. I'm sleeping. It's definitely much cozier during the day. Oh my gosh, seriously? Okay, the timing of that rain is so funny. Good that I now have a beautiful gazebo to wait out the rain. I have a feeling I'm gonna spend a lot of time here because it always rains in my world. And once the rain was over, I went flower picking in the nearby forest because I want to have beautiful flower beds all over my new garden. We got little fields for each of the flowers, and then we can have a path go in between them. And what if we surround the entire thing with azalea leaves too? I also added a wheelbarrow in the front. And now look at this beautiful flower field. I love it, so I want to add more. This time we can make raised flower beds and surround them with the spruce shelves. And those can have the tall flowers inside of them. This looks so good. And it looks even better when it's all decorated. We can also add little things to the garden, like a tiny bird bath. But we also need a bird to go with it, so I'm quickly gonna go over to the jungle. I just need to find a bird sitting in the trees. You're in a tree, but you're not a bird. I found a green bird. Hi, little bird. Yes, first try! No way, I come back to my base and the pillagers have taken over? I told you to never, ever come back to my base! And now we can make the bird sit in the bird bath. I wonder if I can spill water on it. That is so cute. Look at the bird. It's taking a bath. We can also build a wooden archway at the side entrance of the garden. And I think it's really cute. And I think little garden gates are super fun to do. And we have another entrance right here, so we can build another one. This time I want to put even more work into it and make it super organic. Okay, this is it. This is the gate of all garden gates. The best gate that ever gated. I'm totally not obsessed with this gate. But now our garden is done and looking really beautiful and full of greenery. And the bird fell out of the bird bath. And look at how detailed and decorated our base is. There are just a couple empty spots left, but we have this stain in the landscape, the early game area. When I started my world, I chose this space to have all of my food sources, like my cows, sheep, and chicken, and bamboo in a random crop field, and a little shed full of bees. The good thing is we relocated our cow farm, so this pen can go. And I also have a bamboo farm in my industrial town, so all of this can go too. We also have this giant wheat field, and I don't know if we're ever gonna eat potatoes, so this can go too. Now I can pretend the farmland is a pillager and I can just step on it. Get trampled. And I think we can also get rid of all of the sheep because we have an automatic sheep farm. I'm setting them free, totally. This is not murdering you're hearing in the background. You saw nothing. Now that just leaves the chickens and the bees. We have a chicken coop at the farm, but I don't want to turn this into a slaughterhouse because I want to breed chickens so I can get feathers so I can craft arrows. So these guys don't belong in a farm. They belong in a restaurant. Wait, that doesn't make any sense at all. My single brain cell stopped working. I'm totally gonna build a chicken restaurant, so let's gather some resources for it. I got a whole shulker box full of stuff, so now let's go and build it. Oh my gosh, he's in my house! Hello? What are you looking at? What's up there? Ah! There was nothing there. And I think I found the perfect location for a new chicken restaurant. And I've got the perfect block palette for this house. It's basically the same as my starter house and my iron farm, and this new chicken restaurant is gonna lie right in between. So it's finally going to connect those builds together and it looks like a whole area. I added some chimneys and a little outdoor sitting area to indicate that it's a restaurant, but we still gotta do a lot more decorating in the front, and the spruce shelves are gonna help with that. And thanks to the shelves that I'm totally not obsessed with, we have this beautiful entrance. This cow's obsessed with it. I'm also gonna decorate the inside and add a little stony floor, and we got a little sitting area, and over here we could do the counter, and now we can get the chickens over to the restaurant, and then they can all go behind the counter. Oh my gosh, that was so creepy how they all flew over it. So the chickens are gonna live behind the counter, and we can breed them and get infinite feathers, which is kind of horrible, and I wish there was a way to get feathers without killing the chickens. We can also add chairs and tables to our outdoor sitting area, and now we have a really beautiful restaurant, and we can walk in, order some chicken burgers, and we can also go outside and enjoy them out here. Now I'm craving chicken burgers. All of the animal pens are gone, so we have this whole area that we can decorate. This was the messiest, ugliest early game area, so the best thing we can do is to dedicate it to the most beautiful things. But first I gotta go hit the mines, because I'm out of tuff and I want to use it to build in my early game area. I mined out so much tuff that I actually created new caves here, but now my inventory is full and I think that's enough, so let's get out of here. The next thing I want to do is terraform the area next to my chicken restaurant and the iron farm, but now we have this hideous wall. So let's change that and use the tuff we just mined to build a beautiful retaining wall. We can add some polished tuff blocks on top, and then we connect the pillars using slabs, and we can decorate it by adding some stairs underneath, and we can add some deep slate 1 block inwards. And I think this wall looks really good, and it also matches the area because we have a similar wall by my starter house. Now this side over here and the shore is looking kinda ugly in comparison, so let's take all of our stone blocks because we have another terraforming project to do. I'm building a little rocky shore using stone and andesite, and occasionally adding some mossy cobble and moss. Just like the tuff wall, I want the rocks to enclose the early game area so it feels more like a cozy, sheltered spot to chill. We're so gonna chill in this area because I've now decided this is going to be a little park. First I'm gonna plan where a path should go, and then we can figure out what other builds to add here. I did a rough outline of the path, and we could have it go around in a circle and then go over to the shore, and then we have several spots around it to add little builds, and in the middle of the circle we could add a giant fountain. I think it would be cool if it was some kind of monument for this world, so we need blocks that represent this place. I started this world when the Pale Garden update came out, so we definitely gotta use those blocks, and I also love using tuff in all of my builds, so we gotta use that too. I want this fountain to be huge, so let's start by building a big circle out of tuff and using a bunch of different variants of it. I tried to make it as detailed as possible because lots of detail is also something that represents my base. Then we can dig out the center, and in place of the dirt we can add a bunch of stone bricks. I even added a drain in the middle, but now we gotta add all of the water. But right now this is just a sad water hole, so we actually gotta turn it into a fountain. And this is where all of the pale oak comes in because I want to use it to build beautiful swan statues in the middle of the fountain because they're one of my favorite birds and they can be a symbol of this world. I also added some tiny water fountains so we can actually call this thing a fountain, and I think it's looking so cute. I love these birds. And we can also add some flowers in little flower pots all over the fountain. I also did the usual path decorating using coarse dirt, grass, and leaves. And of course a park also needs benches so you can sit and enjoy the view. And of course I'm going to use the shelves again to make them look really good. This is so cozy already, but we're gonna make it even cozier. There's a little opening in between the rocks and a path going down here so we can have a little step downwards, and then we can make a little dock area so we can come out here and actually enjoy the sunset. Now that we have a dock, something boat related would make sense, and we have another empty space here. So a boathouse where you can store all your boats would be cute, and I'm going to build it using the same block palette as the chicken restaurant. It's just a tiny little pale oak hut with a dark oak roof and some spruce decor, and then we can fill in the roof with a bunch of tuff slabs. And we can also have some shelves inside of the shack, and I actually want to display some boats in there. Oh, look who came and wants to rent a boat. Oh my gosh, her name is Catherine. Let's try and put the boat here, and then we just row it into position. Okay, yeah, this looks really good. And I also managed to get one on the top shelf. I also continued the path going through it, and now the wandering trader can rent some boats. Come on, Catherine, give me money. Enjoy your life at sea. Also no refunds. Bye. I love my new Swan park so much, but I can't shake the feeling that something is missing. And then I realized I never planted any trees. A park without trees cannot even be called a park at all. And I want to build some custom trees. Oh my gosh, it started raining just as I said that. So I'm gonna be in my storage and pretending the rain doesn't exist. And while the weather was gross outside, I made myself a little tree building box. This part of my base is full of custom birch trees, and since the park belongs to my early game area, we also gotta add a bunch of custom birch trees here. I started simple and built small birch trees at the entrance of the park first, and I think they look really cool. But I also wanted bigger trees, and the easiest way to build them is to design them in a separate creative world first, and then use the Lightmatica mod to help you rebuild them in survival. The trees made such a big difference. This looks so good. I also grabbed a bunch of leaf litter, and they do look like sheep droppings in my hand, which is kind of weird, but we can use them to decorate the spaces all around the trees because Minecraft has these falling leaves effects, so it makes sense that some of the leaves have fallen down and dried. Everything is full of leaf litter now, and I think we got some really cozy sitting spots under these trees. This area in front of the rocks is still kind of empty. Let's try to squeeze some standing tables in there, and they can belong to the restaurant so we can enjoy our chicken burgers out here. We even got some colorful parasols on top, so we're always protected from the sun, which means our beautiful Swan Park is finally done now, and I love how it's looking. I want to spend all day here and take beautiful walks around the fountain and chill on the benches under the trees, but I can still see the mess of this bee house behind me. There's this huge empty spot where the crop field was, so let's give it all to the bees. First we wait until nightfall, when all of the bees are sleeping and have gone into their hives, and we can pick pick them all up using our silk touch tools. And I can tear down their ugly hut without them escaping. I never realized glass takes longer to break than mining stone or wood. The ugliness is gone, leaving a blank canvas to paint, build on. And I think it wasn't such a bad idea of past me to put the bees in a glass house. We just need to make it prettier using white stained glass. And of course, my spruce wood. There's a chicken in my storage room and I have no idea how it found its way down here. That's creepy. Then we can adjust the terrain a bit to have enough space for the new bee house. I marked some spots for where the house should go, and I think it's going to be really cool. Building a little glass house for the bees brings back memories from when I played 100 Days as a beekeeper, which was so much fun, so I'm happy we now have a bee area in my forever world too. It looks so cute, especially with the tower on top of it. There isn't a lot of space in here, so we gotta use every single corner to get as many bees as possible in here. Let's add all the campfires in the ground, and then we can add the beehives on top of it. The campfire smoke can go through 2 layers of beehives at once, so we have a lot of honey in here now. Guys, I just angered the bees. Why am I like this? I just wanted to add a nice floor in here. No, one just died. Let's give them some flowers so they won't hate me forever. Now we definitely have to breed more bees, but it looks like we have tons of them now, so this is gonna be fine, as long as I don't accidentally punch them again. The next day it was raining again, so I worked on a simple path leading to the bee house while feeling gross and soggy. With the path done, this leaves a bunch of empty spaces all around the bee house. Let's first separate the bee area from the park by adding a fence that goes all along this side, and then this enclosed space here could be the beekeeping area. We could add giant barrels that store honey. They look so cool, but we need something like a tap where the honey can flow out of into these little containers. And guess who's back at my base? They went into Barkley's shed. How dare you disturb my creaking while he's sleeping? Let's craft a tripwire hook, and then we can add them on here. Okay, yeah, this is perfect. We also need to craft honey blocks, so let's see if our bees have been busy. Yay! Wait, this is the first time that I collected honey bottles. I think I've always just sheared them. Let's craft the honey blocks, and then we can put them in there. Wait, if I never crafted a honey block too, we can actually get another advancement. We just have to slide on it. Yay! Sticky situation. I also built a little beekeeper's workstation here, and we have some stuff in the item frame. And I'm gonna use the armor stand book again to actually make the item frames invisible. Now it looks like we actually have the stuff on the table. Let's see how my bone meal farm has been doing, because I'm gonna need a bunch of it for my next project. Oh yeah, we're so rich. Let's bone meal the tall flowers until we have several stacks. Then we can collect some ferns in the spruce forest. And lastly, some cozy flower picking in the forest. Now let's build a hedge all around the bee area, but then we can create something magical inside of that area. And with that I mean using all the flowers we just gathered to create beautiful, colorful flower fields. First I'm adding some coarse dirt patches all over the ground, and then I'm planting a mix of leaves, tall flowers and small flowers, but of course also grass patches and ferns. We can also place some beehives into the field so we have them free roaming the area. Now the bees are happy. We have a nice honeycomb source, so another area is completed. Well, except the other side of the path where there's just an ugly empty space with one singular root of dirt. Be gone. I quickly solved that problem by digging a hole, and then we can add a pond here. The best part is that I added a waterfall going all the way down my hill and into the pond. I also added a little salmon family with little salmon babies, which is so cute. Which means this area is beautiful too now. Look at this incredible space we just created. Which brings us to the final area we gotta transform, the riverside. We don't only have this entire shore that's still completely empty and waiting for some decor, but we also have messy parts in the river where the water just disappears entirely, which doesn't make sense at all. Or places where the water isn't deep enough and we get some ugly sand patches. Before we can work on the shore, we gotta make sure the river looks presentable, which means getting rid of all of the ugly spots so we have a nice circle of water all around my little base island. It was literally just 2 hours of this, and some more of that, internal and external screaming. And now that we've established that I hate mining underwater, we can actually get back to working on the ground. Which brings us to the frog pit. It's time we create something beautiful for them, because those poor guys cannot suffer in this hole any longer. I want to give them a little house to live in, and for that I'm going to use mangrove, sandstone and spruce wood, which I think is a really good block palette. After crafting up a bunch of build materials, I got to work and went looking for a nice spot to build this house. I think we first gotta get rid of all of the sugarcane that's growing by the shore because it's in the way. I think I found a good location for the frog house right here on this side next to this little bay. So let's get rid of some grass layers. Then we can figure out the layout of the build itself, and I think a little house would be perfect for the frogs. First I built up the spruce pillars of the house. Next we can fill the parts in between with sandstone, and lastly we can add a nice mangrove roof on top. I also decorated the entire house, and now we ended up with this little cottage. The land around it is still looking messy though, so I'm going to add a giant porch which turns into a dock, because of course this house is for frogs and it's by the river, so it needs some water elements. I added an overhang to the side with a bunch of barrel storage, and we have some more storage on the docks, and I think this place is really nice now. Of course I also did some work on the inside and added a pretty ceiling, and we also have this little hole which is going to be the frog pond. pond because they're also gonna need water inside of here. Then we take a bunch of slime and open up the frog pit. Frogs love slime, so they're gonna follow me all the way over to their new home. Look at them walking, it's so cute. It's also kind of creepy to have so many frogs following me. Now most of them are in here and we have so many. I didn't even know the pit was so full. But if we wanted to have more frogs, we could breed them and then they lay the tadpoles in the water here. But we also got some frogs that escaped and they can live out here. And we can finally say goodbye to the messy frog pit because now we have a beautiful frog house in our base. And the entire left side of the house is waiting to be decorated. We have a staircase coming down from our industrial mining area. And we also have the crane lifting something from up here. So I was thinking to continue this grass layer a little bit more to over here. Then this place up here could have more mining related storage containers. Of course, we also need a path to go through here. I also want to craft some candles and dye them red because I've got a really cursed idea. A mining operation sometimes needs explosives, right? So we could add some TNT here. Oh my gosh, this is so dangerous. And the candles as little dynamite sticks. Imagine a creeper comes along and blows this up. And maybe we can actually make a mini TNT. Yes, look at these tiny little mini TNTs. This is so good. I think this whole place looks really cute and we got another little area decorated. Then we can have some steps going down here and I have something really fun in mind for this. First we gotta get rid of all of the grass and then replace it with sand, creating a beautiful beach. I added some birch planks and sandstone patches here and there to make this look more detailed and I think it looks like a really nice beach so far. But we could also add additional detailing because we got this tall and short dry grass that I found in the desert and we can have a couple of those growing all over the beach. We can also add some little rocks made of sandstone and of course it's raining again, which isn't very beach vibes at all. But I think the beach looks cool even in the pouring rain. But I'm so glad we can sleep the rain away now. This kind of looks like an abandoned beach, but I don't want it to be abandoned. I want this to be my cozy vacation spot. We're gonna need fences, we're gonna need trapdoors. I only have one. And we also need a bunch of different wool colors and my wool farm has been producing tons of it. And then we can set up a bunch of colorful parasols on the beach. The first is gonna be white and cyan colored. Then we can also have some pink. Then we have lime green and light blue. And lastly, some red and magenta. This looks so cool from above. And underneath, we gotta have some cozy beach chairs so I can sit here and relax. I have a feeling I'm gonna spend a lot of time here. I added beach chairs under all the parasols and also built a cute little sandcastle that has water going all the way to the river. And this is supposed to be a bucket. We can also add some more beach vacation related stuff here like a lifeguard chair, which means I get to use more shelves again. So now we got this really high chair and I can sit here and pretend to be a lifeguard and yell at all the drowning villager children. I just had a really cursed idea. We just need a villager head and I have a villager breeder. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so horrible. I'm sorry. Please drop your head. Yes! Yeah, run for your life. I'm so sorry. But look, I have a villager. Head. I fell in a hole. Let's do some more cursed armor stand magic. Now we've got an actual drowning villager child we can yell at. This is just so creepy. I'm scared. I also just had another idea on how to use shelves to decorate the water. We just need to strip a bunch of different wood types first. And then we can craft shelves in all of the different colors. And they're gonna become pool floaties in the river. Oh yeah, this is the best thing ever. And we can just jump in and enjoy the water. I don't know if I should love it or be scared of it, but I added some more armor stands here. So we have a wandering trader building the sandcastle. We got a drowned, not drowning in a pool floaty. And we got two pillagers chatting on the beach chairs. And these are actually not normal pillagers because look, they have a different eye color because this is a Vindicator, aka the Axeman. And this is an Evoker, the one who spawns Vexes. So I actually used the heads from the Ray to decorate my beach. Now we just gotta add a fence to separate the beach from the rest of the area. I also added some more custom birch trees behind the beach. And I thought my mining area liked trees too, so I added some smaller ones here. We got big trees over here and some smaller ones over there. And this beach is looking really good already. But we have this one sad empty spot here. And I can only think of one thing to go next to the beach. A lighthouse. And for this build I'm gonna need to chop down some more pale wood because I used my last blocks on the custom trees. Also another block I want to use is tough. So we won't be going for the usual red and white stripes a lighthouse often has. But we'll do white and gray stripes. Then we also need a light source at the top, and I'm using copper bulbs, and to light them up I can just step on a pressure plate and then break it. And now this is my cute tiny lighthouse, and we have a path leading to it. We also have a door that I weirdly put at the side, and we also have a grass patch inside of it. Super exciting. And the lighthouse was the last thing we needed to add to this beach area, and look how cool it is. All of the little details created this beautiful spot, and I'm really happy with it. I just want to exist at this beach and build a sandcastle with a wandering trader. But we actually have a little bit more work to do because we have this area right here. And I saved something really cool for this. Why am I stuck flying in the water? I want to build another house that's sitting on a cliff here, so we gotta do a lot more terraforming. And so the building is gonna look even more majestic. I'm gonna build a stony, rocky cliff where it's gonna sit on. After building so much custom terrain in this video, I feel like I'm getting really good at it. This is definitely an improvement to the area. And I left a lot of empty space on top of here so we can put our build here. Let's get some oak blocks and also some birch. I'm out of birch. I'm sure there's still some in my wood storage. Yes, the tree farm is the best. And of course, we also need some spruce wood. I like spruce wood. I am basically building an observatory on this cliff, but instead of it observing the present, it is observing the past, because inside of it is going to be something really cool to show our progress in this world. This observatory is looking really cool. Why did it start raining just as I said that? Seriously, Minecraft, why? That was so funny, but let's ignore that and take a look inside, because I've already decorated the ceiling and also added some little bushes, but the rest of it is still empty, and the stuff I'm gonna add here is going on the walls. And I'm in your walls. I basically have maps of my world all over the place, and the most important ones are up in my base in my secret attic, because here I kept a map from the first couple of days in my world when I've only had my starter house, and we also have one from 200 days in. The problem is if I grab them, I'm gonna update them and ruin the whole thing, so we gotta be really careful about this. Let's craft a cartography table, and we also need some glass pane. Okay, basically now we take the map, and we cannot have an empty slot in our hotbar. Please don't update, please map. Okay, it's still there, it's still there. Now we lock it using a glass pane. I totally didn't know this before, but I looked it up, and that's such a cool thing. It doesn't update, guys, it doesn't update. This is so good. Let's do this again with this map here. We can also craft more maps, and then we can use those to duplicate the maps we have. So we have 2 of each, because I still want the first ones to be in my house. I added item frames to the walls of the observatory, so we just have to do a little puzzle and make sure we got it right. The first 2 are in, but we need more. We actually have a bigger one over here by my industrial town. This map is from around 700 days, and it's way more detailed already than the previous ones. And there's one last map we have to create of the area right now. But before we can do that, we actually have to finish decorating this side here. And it's literally just a tiny little area left. But of course it's raining again. But we cannot let that stop us, so let's get back to work. It's such a strange feeling that after decorating this area, this entire island will be done. And the next time I want to build something in this world, I'm gonna have to move on to new lands across the river. But this island will always be my base and the central location in my world, because it has my storage and many useful farms I need to progress in this game. This is my forever world, which means it's the place I can always come back to. Something like a home, but in a blocky game. I added a bunch of custom trees, creating a little birch forest. I also made a walkway going all the way to my garden, and we also have another beach down here. But I also added details like little rocks scattered all over the place, or a cute picnic site in the forest. But you might notice that this area has some more spruce trees too, because I decided the area around my garden was still too empty, and covering it up with trees seemed like the best solution. Now that everything is decorated, we just need to get some maps. I'm actually not sure how many I need, so I'm just gonna make 8 of them. And now we just click on them, and then we get a beautiful version of our base. Oh my gosh, everything is decorated. I managed to fill all of the 8 maps, so there isn't even enough space on this wall. So I think we're gonna have to break one of those pots, which might look weird. And now we just have to add in the map. And I'm literally freaking out seeing this already. Look at this cool map, and look at how everything is decorated. This was the world during the first days, then during the first 200, after 700 days, and after 1000 days. Well, more like 1100 days, because I just spent 30 hours transforming my entire base. That's how long it took. Basically around 100 in-game days and 30 real-life hours. But it was so worth it for this beautiful base. We transformed the farm, the mining outpost, the back of my base, and the early game area, and of course the entire riverside. I'm so happy with how this place turned out, and I can't wait to build more things in the next 1000 days. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Bye!